All right, baby, we are live. We'll let it breathe just for a second to bring on Facebook, get this party started. Really excited. Man, it's been a short week for the Bills, Zach, but it's been a long 2 weeks for us. And yet I've been champing at the bit to get back on the microphone because a lot's been happening at Broncos HQ. Welcome in, everybody. It's the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zach, the MHH roundtable dropped today. I don't know if we've been able to do this at all this year, right? We're always talking about it ahead of time. We're not really able to talk about it after we've already rendered them. We'll get into that. But first things first, Zach, the Bills injury report came out. 2 players ruled out officially and a bunch of guys questionable. What was your take on that?
They're pretty beat up right now. And I know that's going to be the headlines and the excuses if the Broncos win this game. Josh Allen is going to start, but he's battling a trioca of injuries, Chad. A couple other players. They lost Gabe Davis. They lost Shavers, the third-year receiver who is a contributor in that offense. Hairston, the quarterback, is out. They are pretty beat up, but it's still an imposing opponent for the Broncos. They cannot afford, no matter who they're playing, as injured as they can be, they cannot afford to punch down or play with their food or whatever. They have to take this Bills team very, very seriously.
Yes, indeed. And good news for the Broncos, just as Sean Payton basically telegraphed on Monday, I think it was, Dre Greenlaw is listed as a full go, along with John Franklin Myers. But Zach, neither of the 2 IR designated to return guys, Drew Sanders or Lucas Kroll, are going to play in this game. Both ruled out, so maybe they're just kind of getting a look-see in the event that they advance to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, maybe. I've been saying for a while, and I think it's common sense that anything the Broncos get out of Drew Sanders this season is going to be a bonus. It's looking like it's another wasted season for him, and we'll see what happens there. The good thing is, like you mentioned, they are getting back 2 starters in Greenlaw and John Franklin Myers. They're going to be at full strength for the first time in a while, except for safety Brandon Jones, who is more than likely out for the season, as Peyton intimated earlier this week.
Honestly, the biggest thing that concerns me, we got some answers obviously on the Bills injury report, still a lot of questions. One of those questions is what concerns me. Last season in the wild card round, Curtis Samuel, he made some plays. He's been on IR with Hamlin and Ed Oliver. All 3 are listed, Zach, as questionable. The 2 guys that concern me, though, coming out, I mean, Hamlin, of course, but Samuel and Ed Oliver, because the Bills' rushing defense, as we'll see a little bit later in tonight's show when we hit the head-to-head, is not what it was last season, but he's missed a lot of time this year.
Yep.
And I imagine, I can only assume based on educated guesses and what we've observed over the years, that Ed Oliver being reinserted into the Bills' defensive line going to make it a little bit tougher to run the ball. And the Broncos, Zach, since week 10, aren't exactly a rushing champion type of team.
Yeah, if this was a regular season game, I don't know that they would rush Oliver back. They just started his clock to come back off IR, Chad, and he's, like you said, he hasn't played for a while. But it's going to be all hands on deck and a win or go home game for Buffalo. So maybe you'll see Oliver, Curtis Samuel, and also Brandon Cooks, who's emerging on offense as well. Speedster receiver. He can hurt the Broncos over the top. Fortunately, we talk about the Broncos running game. They're not that good anyway at running the football, as you mentioned, Chad. So maybe Oliver coming back, it's got like a net neutral addition.
We shall see how it shakes out. Some hellos real quick. We got the Papa Bear checking in, a Mount Rushmore superstar, a dear friend, a dear member, saying, good evening, Broncos country. Hashtag 17-3. I think we all know what that means. Love it, dude. Thank you, Papa Bear. It's great to see you, pal. Shout out to a member, String Guy, saying, good evening. Please tell me the defense will be healthy enough to at least slow Josh Allen down. I don't think Denver wins if we get into a shootout. The defense, Zach, the Broncos really, for a team that's gone through the 17-game war of attrition, they're about as healthy as any team under the sun could reasonably expect to have or be at, right? Like the J.K. Dobbins, Brandon Jones, Luke Wanberg. Those are the big 3. And yes, their absence, I should say, has been felt since each one went down. But overall, every single guy that's on the 53-man roster is healthy, good to go tomorrow. Or Saturday. So the defense, String Guy, Raj, healthy, and I think they're going to be properly prepared to get after Josh Allen, who, by the way, is nursing 3 injuries, a trio of injuries.
Yeah, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, Roger, the Broncos are going to be at full strength on defense for the first time in quite a while, except for Brandon Jones. That's the only exception. And as Chad was talking about there, for it to be this late in the season and only one guy is missing from their defense is a big testament to the strength and conditioning staff, Bo Lowry and Dal Rimple, and everything they're doing over there. It's night and day from how it used to be with the previous strength and conditioning staffs.
That is faux show. Taylor Christensen. Great to see another one of our dear members in the house saying, hi, fellas. It's time for the Broncos to show why they are here. And number one, baby, last year, the goal was just getting in, getting the experience. Go Broncos, Denver Broncos. So that's something Sean Payton talked about recently too, Zach, that last year the Broncos made it to the playoffs, proved that they belong here. But this year, Zach, it's about a lot more than just proving you belong. It's about winning the whole damn thing.
Yeah, Taylor, that's exactly what Sean Payton, his 3-point plan for the Broncos 2025 season. It wasn't just getting in. It wasn't just winning the division. It was getting the 1 seed, winning the conference championship, and then winning the freaking Super Bowl, or at least reaching the Super Bowl and then winning it. So step 1 is done, and now we're on to step 2. So the Pat Bowlen standard is back in Denver, and that's something we should all be really happy about.
I certainly am. It feels good, does it not, Broncos country? I love it. So, Taylor, thank you, big dog. We got M. Blex in the house. He's here to party. We got David Youngkin. So, JFM, Greenlaw are back. Yes, they are. Ronk in the house saying, good evening, Chad and Zach on the Mile High Huddle podcast. Go Bo Broncos. So many awesome members already. The chat's just starting to fill up, and so many Mount Rushmore superstars. Feels like home. Thank you for being here, you guys. We're stoked to see you. Pro 16, a dear member. I'm glad to see all the boys on the Mile High Huddle or Mile High Roundtable took the Broncos this week. Yes. Yep. Across the board. And that's interesting because you might expect Chad and Zach to pick the Broncos, but some of the more, what's a good way of putting it? Pragmatic guys, right? The black and white football guys like Nick Kendall, Eric Trickle, both of them picked the Broncos. And man, it just feels like something's different this time about the Broncos. And I don't know, it's hard to kind of put your finger on, but Zach, I think a big part of it is just kind of the culmination of everything we've seen and witnessed throughout the season. It's time for it all to come together, but it does, to me, feel different. Like, I will admit, when the Broncos qualified for the 7th and final seed in the AFC last year in the, week 18, the final opportunity to qualify. And I'm like, oh, got the playoff drought monkey off their back. Just kind of happy to be there, right? Just happy to say, all right, made the playoffs, first year Bo Nix. This time it's all about bringing home that Lombardi trophy. It's so hard, Zach, to get the 1 seed and secure home field advantage when those opportunities come. Man, woe unto thee if you squander it.
Yeah, they're not car wash coupons, as Sean Payton said. And I can't remember last year at this time if I picked the Broncos in the round table to beat the Bills in the wild card round. If I did, I didn't feel great about it. And I'll be honest, Pro 16 and everyone else, there have been some times where I've picked the Broncos to win where I wasn't sure in my heart that they would, but I still went ahead and did it anyway. This time, I did pick the Broncos. I said it's going to be a close game, or I predicted a close game. But I genuinely, like Chad also feels, I genuinely believe they are going to upset Buffalo. They should be in no position to upset Buffalo. They should be favorites in this game. But I genuinely believe in my heart the Broncos are going to win on Saturday. So that's why I took them. And I think that's why a lot of people took them.
Well said, buddy. Mike Thompson, a dear member. Hey, friends, he's picking Broncos 27-17, a 2-score win. That would be a statement, seriously. Mblex gifting a membership in the chat. Thank you, brother. And by the way, Mblex still helping out a lot, keeping the MHH Discord rolling on the reg. So if you guys have yet to join the free MHH Discord server, link is in the description of the video. Come join us, guys. Zach, we have a very generous super chat coming in from the top rope from a Mount Rushmore superstar, Shannon Mills, and a dear member. She says, good evening. I hope Sean commits to the run game and doesn't abandon it like other teams have. That could be the formula for the win. As you guys will see in the head-to-head, this Bills rushing defense is not what it has been in years past. They've taken some major steps backward this season. Big part of that, though, it's worth mentioning, in my opinion anyway, has been some of the injuries they've dealt with, one of which, Ed Oliver, who could be back. He's on IR. They'd have to actually activate him. He's listed as questionable. They can go all the way up to day of before they actually activate him. So if there's no word that he's been activated come, 15, 20, or probably when they start warming up, safe bet that he's not going to make it. But a lot of these guys, Zach, on the Bills who are either on IR, trying to fight back, or banged up, man, they're like, it's do or die. They're going to sacrifice and play at, slightly diminished capacity if that's what it means or what it takes to get out on the field. So running the ball, if the Broncos stick to it, I do think that this is a game where they could finally, especially at home, see some success.
You mentioned other teams abandoning the run. How about the Broncos, Shannon? They've been culprit number one in doing that. It's been one of my biggest gripes with Sean Payton is that if you look at the box score of every game, Bo Nix will have like 40 pass attempts and they'll have 15 runs combined between 3 running backs and also Bo Nix as well. So yeah, you want Sean Payton to commit, and no matter how well the Broncos running game does, it seems like he goes away from it, but you want him to commit ultimately. And I think he will. I think we'll see more of that, a balanced attack on Saturday.
Shannon, thank you again, my friend. Your support has meant the world to us this year. So each one, just to remind everybody, we're going to be sending out a little care package to all 20 members of the 2025 Mount Rushmore team, so to speak. So more details to follow on that. In utter transparency, I'm just waiting for a final sign off on the design of a particular t-shirt that's going to be coming y'all's way. Most of you have reached out with your email, by the way, to let me know your t-shirt size and address. Thank you. If you haven't and you were a Mount Rushmore superstar, email us milehighhuddle@gmail.com. All right, guys, lots more that we are going to get to tonight. It's really exciting because we are going to be doing the first head-to-head of the playoffs. But first, guys, listen up. Playoffs are here, and Underdog remains the best place to get in on all that action. It's time to get off the bench and into the game. Head over to Underdog. You simply download the app. And by the way, it's not just football. Whether you're into basketball, hockey, any sport in between, Underdog is the best place to get in on all that action, Zach, all season long.
Exactly. Playing an Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. You get your picks correct, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash.
It's so much fun, guys, playing Underdog and just getting the opportunity to win a little money while you're watching playoff football. It's a touchdown. Download the Underdog app today, Broncos country. Sign up with our promo code MHuddle, and you will score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next?
Be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
All right, back to the chat. I want to grab this from a dear member, Mike, who says, I said before the season, if Denver's defense stays healthy, they will win it all, and we are close enough. I mean, the only guy you're missing on defense is Brandon Jones. So, again, Zach, war of attrition, 17 games. You won 14 of the dadgum things. You earned the bye. Going into this game, you are as rested and healthy as you could reasonably expect to be. And I think you're going to see that energy from this Bronco defense out of the gates. And it's going to be like, of course, easier said than done. We all know the beast Josh Allen is, Zach, but I think it's going to be like blood in the water for sharks, knowing that, by the way, here's what he's dealing with, knowing that as far as his injuries, he's dealing with a foot, a knee, and a finger on his throwing hand. So knowing that, this defense, man, they're going to be out for blood, so to speak.
Yeah, and Mike is one of the more optimistic Broncos fans around, so I can definitely appreciate that, Mike. Thank you for the comment.
Good to see you, buddy. Sue Gibson, how are you? Stoked to see another member in the chat. Let's see here. I want to try and make sure I hit all the members, but we don't have Mr. Producer tonight, so I kind of have to scroll. Savage Rick, a dear member, wants to know, how is the Bills' offensive line? Is it good enough to stop Bonito and company? It's a very good offensive line. Very, very good offensive line. And it's, of course, Zach, led by Pro Bowl left tackle Dion Dawkins. They've got a great right tackle in Spencer Brown. So it's one of the better offensive lines in the NFL, in my opinion. Is it on the same level as the Broncos? Maybe not quite, but it's very good. And Zach, it's very experienced. Let's not forget, last year, they just set up, lined up, telegraphed what they were going to do and said, hey, Broncos, dare you to stop us. And they just rammed it down Denver's throat. 210 rushing yards. James Cook over 100 yards. Josh Allen rushed for nearly 50 yards. That's a really good offensive line. Now, is it exactly the same? No, but it's a very good unit. And so you look at the matchups a little bit here, Zach. Bonito, he's not going to have it easy going against Dawkins because that's the side he likes to line up on mostly. But I think there's an opportunity for him. I think there's an opportunity, Zach, for Jonathan Cooper, whose get-off is ridiculous. With all the noise that's going to be raining down on the Bills, I think he has a chance against Brown there at right tackle.
Yeah, I mean, they can be good, just like Pittsburgh's line back in the day with Roethlisberger was good. No one talks about that because Roethlisberger was always shucking tackles and making plays, and Josh Allen's the same way. So whether they're good or bad is a little less important, Rick, because they have Josh Allen, and he's always going to find a way to get a pass off or escape something to run down the field. So the Broncos are going to have to be on their P's and Q's, and Bonito, when they get their hands on him, get him down to the ground.
Good to see you, Rick. Thank you, buddy. We got Seth Harmon in the house. What's going on? An OG superstar and a dear member. Seth goes back many years with the MHH community here. How many sacks, he says, do you guys see in this game? That's a really good question. I watched, Zach, the John Gruden. As you guys know, I'm a fan of Chucky. And I watched his breakdown of Bills Broncos. By the way, he picked the Broncos. And one of the things he really honed in on, he talks about it a lot if you watch him, but is sack differential. Now, we all know what turnover differential is. We're going to look at it when we get to the head-to-head. Sack differential is you take the number of sacks your defense has gotten on the season, and then you subtract the number of sacks your quarterback has taken, and whatever that number is your sack differential. And the Broncos have an unseen, unheard of, never before even come close to sack differential number, because you had the 68 sacks, Zach, and then Bo Nix finished as the least sack quarterback, tied as the least sack quarterback in the NFL. So I see Bo Nix, for what it's worth. I know this isn't exactly what you're asking at first here, Seth, but Zach, I see Bo going down twice because the Bills are going to be desperate, man. You're going to get their best shot. But I see the Broncos sacking Josh Allen 4 times and just really hitting him a lot. I see him getting hit a lot in this one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think the sack number on Josh Allen would be a little lower, maybe 2 or 3 sacks, but they're going to have a lot of pressure on him. They're going to hit him. They're going to make him uncomfortable, and that's going to be, pressure is production too. It doesn't have to be just sacks. So they're going to make his life more uncomfortable, and knowing that he's already coming to this game kind of banged up, they're going to be out for blood on Saturday.
No doubt. And he's so hard to bring down, and I think one thing that gives me a little pause when I think about answering a question like this is going against a quarterback such as Allen. You think about Nik Bonitto down the stretch in December, especially, like how many have him in the grasp and they step out of it, sacks that he missed. Like he could have easily finished with 18, 19 sacks just from those situations that were squandered in December. And Allen's the type of guy that, man, you got to bring the whole squad half the time to get him down. Like it's absolutely crazy. So lane discipline, rush lane discipline is going to be huge. Eric's talked a lot about it. So is Nick on the morning show. And Jonathan Cooper, that's something that he has kind of been flagging on in the final quarter of the season. He's got to stay disciplined. And if I'm Vance Joseph, I'm balancing with whatever defenses I'm calling, whatever blitz packages I'm calling, whatever coverages, Zach. I'm balancing that with a reliable and consistent spy because Josh Allen, he's going to pull the ball down and run. He's one of the best off-schedule creator quarterbacks in the history of the NFL.
And that spy to me would be Huff. That's the responsibility that I would give him down in the box is keep your eyes on Josh Allen. He's a sure tackler, Chad. He can go sideline to sideline. That's the guy that I would lean on to keep Josh Allen as a runner within the pocket and the line of scrimmage completely in check, or at least mostly in check.
Thank you again, Seth. It's great to see you, big dog. And for guys like you that have been with us since the dark, dark days, man, of 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, that window of time, we all went through and suffered through quite a lot. So you're one of those guys, Seth, I think of. I'm like, yeah, dude, good for you. I'm so stoked for you, what the Broncos are doing. As Mike brings up here, this is a request, guys, if you're going to be at the game. Sean Payton, he wants deafening noise from the crowd at a very specific point. Now, of course, anytime the Bills' offense is on the field, he wants that noise. But specifically, he wants the crescendo in that first 10 seconds when they enter the huddle. And, of course, the longer Broncos country at Empower Field can sustain that noise, the better. But he's like, hey, man, it's half the plays, right? Because you figure out probably Bills will encompass half the plays. 10 seconds per play, give us that.
Yeah, and if there's any fan base in the NFL that's going to utilize home field advantage to the team's advantage more than I can't think of one. Maybe Seattle, and we'll see about that this weekend. But if there's any fan base that can do it, it's definitely Broncos country. I think they're going to be raucous. They're going to be full-throated, and that first incomplete chant is going to be goosebump-inducing. Can't wait to hear it.
Tucson Phil checking in on Facebook. Great to see you, brother. He says, good evening, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. Scott's not with us tonight, but I'm sure he'll hear this when he does the edit and stuff. So anyway, he says, I just got a feeling this is not a close game. His justification, Bills are so banged up. He's picking Zach Denver by 11 with a Buckham, an MHH for life, Broncos for life. I love it, brother. I love it. Hey, man, if you're feeling that sand, you're feeling bold, by all means. I see this as, if you guys read the roundtable today, I picked the Broncos to win by a score, and I'm picking Will Lutz. My prediction is Will Lutz, walk-off field goal, advance to the AFC Championship game. So I hope it's as you say, Phil. But this is the playoffs. This is the Bills. This is Josh Allen, banged up though they are.
Yeah, I went 23-20 Broncos in my roundtable prediction. Like Chad said, it's going to be down to the wire, fourth quarter dramatics, cardiac kids on full display. But Phil, even if we took away a digit there, I would be happy. If they won by 1 point, if they just eke their way past Buffalo to get to the AFC title game, that's all that matters. But I'm glad that you're confident. And again, a lot of us feel this very calm feeling, this very collected feeling about the Broncos, not as many nerves as there were going into the wild card game last year.
I picked Broncos 24-23 with that walk-off. So it'll be fun. Both Zach and I see this as a one-score down to the wire kind of affair. So we'll see how it shakes out, but it's really good to see you, Phil. Appreciate you, big dog. We also have Boss Man Jay checking in.
Thank you, Jay.
Top
Appreciate
rope,
that, buddy.
Sailing down, elbow first. Bam. Brother, thank you for your generous support. You demand. He says, I missed most of the shows lately, but my wife and I caught tonight's show. Well, shouts to Boss Man Jay and the missus. Our lineup for 2026 is a Broncos Super Bowl win and then baby Denver born on March 2nd. Everything else is TBD with a newborn. Dude, how cool is that? Are you naming the baby Denver? I'm just curious, but either way, I've known that you and the missus are expecting, so congrats to you and all that stuff. And I hope it unfolds for the Broncos, just as you say, big dog.
Listen, Jay, first of all, thank you to you and your wife for watching. Congratulations to both of you. But if the Broncos win the Super Bowl, I think you're going to go ahead and name the baby Bo. You got to do it at that point. Heck
yeah, dude. That's awesome,
though. Again, though, man. Congrats.
Yep. Super excited for you guys. That is amazing. Thank you for the support again, big dog. Okay. Shouts to the old man. Mr. Jensen's in the house on Facebook.
Thank you.
He's a Facebook or bust guy. You know, they exist out there, Zach. They exist.
Yes, they do.
My father is definitely one of them, but he's saying something that I echo 100%. Bonito needs to step up in order for the Broncos to win this game.
Agreed.
And why that's especially salient, Zach, aside from what we've already discussed this evening, is if you think back to the wild card last year, the Bills clearly identified Bonito as a vulnerability to attack, mainly because of his rush defense. He's gotten better, but he's never going to be the biggest guy that can hold up at the point of attack. You know, he can set the edge here and there with relative competency, Zach, but Bonito, man, how are you going to handle it when you got a tackle and a guard bearing down on you and the ball's coming right behind him, and et cetera? So amen to that, Pops, and let's hope that he holds up not only against the run, but gets after Josh Allen, brings him down a few times.
That was like the debate on social media when the All-Pro selections came out, Chad. Nik Bonitto did not make All-Pro, and a lot of Broncos fans thought he was snubbed. Well, the argument was he disappeared. You know, if you want to be All-Pro, you can't take 3-4 games off or go long stretches of the season without making impacts. He's being paid now to be like a TJ Watt or to be a Micah Parsons, and you can't be absent for that long without being those guys. Those guys made All-Pro for a reason. So absolutely, Mr. Jensen, thank you for the comment. You're 100% right. He is one of their defensive linchpins, and he's going to have to step up and be a leader on Saturday.
String guy, JFM, is he going to be in game shape coming off the injury? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. He missed one game. I mean, he missed the season finale. Dre Greenlaw missed the final 2 regular season games. But no, I mean, they've been practicing since Friday. They got him back in the saddle Friday, indoor practice, and they ran it as like a OTA style practice, Zach. But Friday started kind of the mission before they got into the game planning because they didn't know who they were playing yet. And it was all about situational, 2-minute, third down, red zone, etc. And the Broncos really want to be sharp in those areas for obvious reasons. Ronk, Sam Darnold suffered an injury today in practice. He's day-to-day. I saw a hint of that. I didn't really follow up on the story because I was getting the stream set up. Zach, do you know the story on this?
The story is that if he can't go, Ronk, guess who would start for Seattle? Drew Lock.
Whoa.
Everyone's favorite quarterback, the guy that we championed around here, Chad, to a fault. And we've had to scrape egg off our faces since then. But yeah, I don't know exactly the latest on Darnold. I know, like you said, he has the injury, and we'll see what happens this weekend.
Looks like an oblique for Sam Darnold. Wow. In practice,
I'm no fan of Seattle, so I'm not crying over this.
No, I mean, it's a eye on the future kind of concern if the Broncos advance to the Super Bowl. But if he's day to day, he'd be good by then. Anyway, if they're able to survive a potential run-in without him. So good update. Thank you for that, Ronk. Appreciate you, big dog. We got Brad Murdoch in the house. Great to see you, pal. A dear member and a longtime superstar, saying good evening, Chad and Zach, and everyone on the MHH. Broncos take it 24-21 on a Will Lutz walk-off. Let's do it, guys. I'm right there with you, pal. I'm right there with you. And, man, I can see it right now. I can visualize it.
Yeah, big nuts Lutz coming through once again. I laugh to myself, Chad, because it's funny. You, me, a lot of people in the comment section, including Brad, think it's going to be another typical Broncos game where it comes down to the fourth quarter, it comes down to the final play, it comes down to a field goal, and we're going to all be just emotionally exhausted, but in the best way possible, because your Denver Broncos will be going to the AFC Championship.
No doubt. No doubt, buddy. But, when I was thinking up my score, I went 24-23. Again, we're going to look at the head-to-head. In fact, we'll get to that here very shortly. But I'm going, are the Bills going to get a lot of touchdowns, or I guess a better way of saying it is, are the Bills going to be getting touchdowns, or are they going to be getting field goals? And if so, how does that shape the score? I think it's going to be kind of a slightly weirder score. I mean, 24-23 is not that weird, but, 19-23, something like that. It's going to be a weird game. 16. Broncos maybe only score 19. Maybe they only score 20. Yeah. It's going to be – now, some of you are seeing some fireworks. Some of you, Zach, we're seeing folks in the chat predicting 2-score victory. Man, if it shakes out like that, I will absolutely eat my hat and be totally psyched about it. But my gut tells me Broncos win. But again, it's going to be a close one.
Would we have it any other way with this 2025 Broncos team? Most comeback victories in the NFL, the 33-point, quarter, whatever it was, Chad, against the Giants. I mean, that's how they do it. We might see them sleepwalk in the first quarter. We might see not the best football in the first half, but we know come the fourth quarter, the team is going to just turn it freaking on, and it's going to be a very, very exciting ending, good or bad.
No doubt about it. Real quick, Rodney says, remember when we faced Lamar Jackson back in 2021? He was banged up. He beat us through the air still. Josh Allen's a fighting machine. We can't take them lightly. Guys, that's one of the things I can promise you is some fans and maybe even some folks, Zach, in the media are going, man, at some point, all these injuries got to add up and mean something for these Bills. And they might be sleeping on them a little bit. I can promise you the Broncos are not. They're not. Broncos will get, or I should say, Bills will get Broncos 100% best shot.
I feel like every time the Broncos play Lamar Jackson, I can't think of a time where they played him and it wasn't just utter domination from Baltimore. I think back to last season, they won, 41-10 or something like that. But yeah, you're going to get the best version of Josh Allen. And as I said on KK, Kelberman's Corner on Tuesday, Josh Allen at 80% is better than 80% of quarterbacks that are at 100%. Food for
Excellent
thought.
way of putting it. And guys, if you are missing those Kelberman's Corner episodes every Tuesday for members only on YouTube, noon Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, just become a member at either level. You're in like Flynn. Hot takes that hold water. Keith, and then we're going to grab Adventure Soldier. A dear member, Keith, says, I pretty much got laughed at for this, but do you guys think PS2 is going to cover the tight end with some of their top wide receivers basically gone for the Bills? So that's an interesting, I don't know why you're getting laughed at for that, but because Surtain has done that at times. What's your thought here for Keith, Zach?
Well, they still have Khalil Shakir. As far as I know, he's healthy. That's their wide receiver one. That's Josh Allen's safety blanket, despite them losing Gabe Davis and Shavers. So I don't know, maybe PS2 would guard him because he's their best receiver. But I like the way you're thinking. I just don't know if it's practical in this game. One of the Bills tight ends, either Kincaid or Knox, he is injured. Kincaid. Or is going to be banged up coming in this game. So I don't know that you're going to have to put PS2 on him. If I had to guess, Keith, I think PS2 will be on Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, it's Kincaid, who was officially, let me see, officially listed as a full go. He's dealing with a knee and a calf. So he's got two injuries for what it's worth. But Zach's right, guys. They have 3 healthy on the roster receivers, not just healthy receivers on the 3 total receivers currently on the roster after putting Shavers and what's the other guy's name?
Gabe Davis.
Thank you. On IR this week. Those 3 receivers are Keon Coleman, Brandon Cooks, and the aforementioned Khalil Shakir. And Shakir's led the team this season, more of a slot guy. We'll see how it shakes out. Brandon Cooks, he can get you. He's 32, though, Zach, and Sean Payton knows him well. So we shall see. But, hey, man, whatever you got to do to stop him, and if Vance Joseph thinks aligning PS2 with the tight end, by all means, man, get after it. Adventure Soldier, and then we'll take a break from the chat for just a short time to do the head-to-head. Jumping in to say, what's up, MHH community, Broncos country, dude? Great seeing another key member. Says, I have a good feeling about this weekend, and I'm hoping Marvin Mims Jr. and Jaleel McLaughlin light it up. Also, can we get Von Miller on the cheap to retire as a Bronco? Zach, we'll put a pin in the Von thing for a second. Here's what's interesting. I already mentioned I watched the Gruden Bills Broncos breakdown. He had 2 X factors for the Broncos offense. Both guys' last name starts with an M. Both guys were just mentioned right here by Soldier, Mims and McLaughlin. And Mims, Zach, has, for the most part, kind of been disappeared from the offense. Like, he had a little bit of impact early in the season. He did miss some time with a concussion, but he's kind of been an afterthought other than here and there gadget guy. I think you could see him in this game, Zach, being utilized down the field, whereas McLaughlin, time for him to get a bigger bite at the apple and actually give you like pretty close to even touch share with RJ Harvey. Your thoughts?
Remember when Marvin Mims caught 2 long touchdowns against the Bengals, including a contested catch on a Hail Mary? What happened to that, Marvin Mims? What happened to that Broncos downfield passing attack? I do not know if it was the addition of Pat Bryant or the
Ascension.
the manufactured ascension, thank you, of Troy Franklin. I don't think Mims is going to be the bigger X factor. I think Chad's right. He's going to continue being just the gadget guy. McLaughlin, though, I agree. And I've been pushing for this. I know Chad has as well. He has some juice and he has some abilities, including his vision that even RJ Harvey lacks at times. And it feels like, Chad, Jaleel is this close to this season to breaking off an 80-yard touchdown run. Maybe if given the opportunity, he'll do that at Buffalo or against Buffalo, but will he get the opportunity or will Sean Payton go away from the run? That's always the question.
Man, if you could put Jaleel's heart, and I'm not saying this is a slight to RJ that he doesn't have heart, but if you could take Jaleel's heart and vision and combine it with everything else RJ has, you'd have an unstoppable RB1 for the ages, dude.
Yep.
On the subject of Von Miller, I mean, I don't know if you missed it, Soldier, but he's literally petitioning publicly the Broncos to sign him this next coming season. He's willing to take a backup role. Explain it, Zach. You wrote it up for milehighhuddle.com.
Yeah, I'm chuckling because he's willing to do anything to come back to Denver, including being a backup and being a mentor to Nik Bonitto and Jonathan Cooper and everyone else in the linebacker room. He went on his podcast the other day and said, I want to be a Denver Bronco next year, point blank period. He made a plea, a heartfelt plea at that. It's genuine. He wishes the Broncos well. He realizes he's in the twilight of his career. They don't need a starting outside linebacker. They have 2 good ones already. And also they have 2 good backups. So I wonder if they brought Von back in a player role, not just a coaching role, who's going to get cut so he can come back. But he does want to. And Chad, it's something that he's been saying for at least the last year. I've wrote 4 stories personally about his want and his need to come back to the Mile High City. We'll see, though, if the interest is mutual.
That we will. I mean, I think you'd almost have to trade one of those guys to make room for him because you're not going to want to sit down Dondre Tillman. You don't want to sit down Jonah Ellis. I mean, as much as we love Vaughn, he's long in the tooth. Like, I think he's even older now than D. Ware was. Now I got to check myself when he came to Denver back in 2014. So let's see. DeMarcus Ware was born they're the exact same age. So Ware was 32 when he joined the Broncos, gave him 3 great years, a couple of Pro Bowls, a world championship, mentored Vaughn, helped turn the ship around with the way his career was headed with his run-ins with NFL law, right? He fought the law and the law won. So I wouldn't just dismiss it out of hand as a possibility because he genuinely wants to come back. And if he's willing to take literally relatively close to that minimum, I think it would be a foregone conclusion, but we'll see. We'll see. Adventure Soldier, thank you. Real quick, Boss Man, again, jumping in, brother. Thank you, Jay. It's the playoffs, he says. If they can crawl, they'll play. Exactly. And that's really why no one should sleep on the Bills and write them off because they're injured. Like, you know what they say, Zach, about wounded animals and danger and all that stuff. So you gotta take them just as seriously as if they were 100% healthy. That's the bottom line. So thank you for that, Jay. All right, guys, let's take a look at the first head-to-head comparison of the Broncos postseason this time around. And if you guys are new to the channel and the show, a green statistic signals that it's a top 10 ranking. Red means bottom 10. And if it's black, it's somewhere in the middle. Broncos, as the 1 seed, come in at 14-3. The Bills, 12-5 is the 6th seed. And the first thing to look at here is the turnover margin, the differential. The Broncos, it's a really crazy number for a 1 seed. You would expect that, Zach, to be plus, even if it's only by 1 or 2 points. And yet the Broncos are -3, which ties them for 19th. The Bills, though, they're +1, which ties them for 12th. Time of possession, these are 2 top 10 teams. The Bills, because they lead the NFL in rushing, as we're going to see here in just a moment, they possess that ball, baby. They're first in the NFL in TOP. Broncos, though, they're 7th. And that, though, let's also point out, Zach, this number for the Broncos in this ranking heavily influenced and informed by those last two games where they just basically tried to stay on the field, run the ball, stay on the field. I mean, the KC game had how many 8-minute drives and so on. It was basically the same model against the Chargers. So at least that tells us they can do it though, right? So we look at these offenses, starting with the Bills. They're 4th in yards per game. They're 5th in yards per play. Points, they're almost a touchdown more than the Broncos, which ties them for 4th, averaging 28.3 per game. As I mentioned, this is the NFL's #1 rushing offense with James Cook, Zach, leading the entire NFL in rushing. He's the rushing champ. Passing, though, they're kind of middle of the pack. They only have 10 interceptions, which we've been lamenting and crying over. I guess flip it over real quick. 10 picks, Zach. That's not a lot. 9 fumbles lost, 19 total giveaways. That's middle of the pack. 40 sacks, though. That's kind of a lot in a vacuum. This season, it only ranked him 19th, but look where the money's at. The money's right here on third down. Thank you, Josh Allen and Zach, the red zone, where they rank 4th and 3rd respectively. And then last thing, and I'm going to serve it back to you, Broncos offense, 3 spots where they're in the green. And this is new because they were up there in third down. They were up there in red zone. They're 10th in yards, 6th, Zach, in fumbles, and tied for 1st in sacks allowed, as I mentioned, Bo Nick. So how do you feel about these two offenses?
Like you said, I was a little surprised when I saw the sack number for Buffalo as well. 40 sacks. We talked about how tough it is with Josh Allen getting him down to the ground and him making plays, but that's still a pretty big amount. And if you followed the coordinator and the play calling in Buffalo, Joe Brady, as you could see, he's gotten the most out of James Cook. They're an excellent rushing offense and with Josh Allen, but they're not that good of a passing offense. So if you can just contain the run and in a way make Josh Allen beat you as a passer, you have a really good chance of pulling off the quote unquote upset. But let's boil it down even further. Even though he's injured, look at those numbers right there. As long as Josh Allen is breathing, as long as James Cook is on the field, they are going to be a formidable foe for Denver. That's why we've been saying the entire podcast, they're going to have to bring it for all 4 quarters and not take the first 3 off.
It is kind of cool. I'll just say this real quick before we move on to the defense, that the Broncos finished barely. As low production as this passing offense felt at times this season, it's kind of cool to see that they finished just barely outside the top 10. They finished at 11th.
And no red anywhere either.
Say again.
I'm sorry, Chad. No red anywhere either.
Exactly. That's encouraging. That's encouraging. All right. But these numbers here, Broncos on third down, 11th, and on red zone, 13th, those have dropped over the last 3 games. Because remember, they lost week 16. That's where it started to turn. And then the 2 weird games against the Chiefs and Chargers, respectively. This is why Sean Payton, who admitted on Friday that the numbers concerned him, made these situational football drills and just emphasis such a point this whole week. So we move on to defense. And the Bills, in terms of yardage, Zach, they're top 10. They only allowed 293.1 yards per game. That's 7th. Rushing, though, they are 28th. They're 28th. But juxtapose that, Zach, with the #1 passing defense in the NFL. What? Weird, right? And then interceptions, they have 13, which is only 3 more than the Broncos, who did not have much, or many, I should say, this year. That ties the Bills for 11th most in the NFL. 7 fumble recoveries, gives them 20 total takeaways. And then sacks, they are basically low end of middle of the pack with 36. They really struggle, Zach, to get teams off the field on third down. And they're basically middle of the pack, low end of middle of the pack in the red zone. Now, we look at the Broncos defense. They're 2nd in yards, 1st in yards per play, 3rd in points, surrendering 18.3. Rushing, 2nd best rushing defense in the NFL. This is one of the many angles that makes this game so exciting. Going against the #1 rushing offense, it's going to be fun. Passing, though, they can do it both ways, right? They can skin the cat by stopping the run, and when you try to throw it, they rank 7th against the pass. But again, the struggle was the lack of interceptions this season. They only had 10. Combined with their 4 fumble recoveries, they ranked 26th in takeaways this season, came dangerously close to a franchise low, which is so weird, Zach, when you're affecting the quarterback this much. I mean, 68 sacks easily leads the NFL, back-to-back years doing that in terms of leading the NFL. And then here's where you get really excited, Zach. Third down, they're the second best defense. And in the red zone, there is nobody better. Your thoughts on these two defenses?
Did you see, this is kind of a quick aside, that the Jets finished the season without one interception? They had no picks the entire season.
Crazy.
So as much as I don't even know how that's possible, as much as we're ruining the Broncos only having 10 there, at least it was 10 more than another NFL team. It's crazy also that they have more red in their rankings for whatever this means than the Broncos offense does. I just wish, because the juxtaposition, as Chad mentioned there, the one thing the Broncos can't do on offense is run the ball. The one thing that Bills defense can't do is stop the run. And I would assume, because of how bad they are in on third down and not great in the red zone, that when teams get down there in those situations, they are converting by running the ball. So you'd love to have J.K. Dobbins back this game, but that's why we've been saying, Sean, please commit more to RJ, commit more to Jaleel, commit more to even Bo Nix using his legs. You got to get the running game going against this team.
All right, guys, there you have it. Head-to-head on the defenses. Now we look at these special teams. And the Bills, Zach, 3 of the categories, 3 of the 7, they're in the green. So they are good at covering punts. Broncos, that's their only strong suit in special teams, where they're in the top 10 is Marvin Mims' punt return average, but it's going into the teeth of their top 7 punt coverage. But the Bills are also top 10, nay, top 5 in their kickoff return. They've got a great kick returner. And then field goals, even percentage-wise, Zach, even better than Will Lutz. And you look over here at the Broncos, I don't understand why. As you guys know, I was stoked on Jeremy Crawshaw. I saw him at the Senior Bowl last year. I was really impressed by him. I did not lament or sweat the 6th-round pick whatsoever, but he's yet to impress me at all since he came to Denver. Basically, from the time he was picked, I'm yet to go like, yeah, buddy, that's the one. He's pretty. I mean, look, 19th in net, 14th in gross, and you punt in the thin air of Mile High. Granted, Zach, you're a rookie, so you cut him a little slack, but man, he needs to be on point in the playoffs because field position, baby, it's going to matter. Broncos, though, the one red area, they just have not been good returning or covering kick returns. 26th, and yet, Zach, they have a first-team All-Pro special teamer. So Devin Key's cleaning up a lot of that stuff, but he needs some help, dadgummit.
Excellent points there, Chad, especially about the field position. It's going to be paramount. Every inch, every yard, every point in the playoffs, it becomes that much more important. You covered everything there. I just don't understand how the Giants reportedly wanted to interview Darren Rizzi for a head coaching job. What were they looking at the entire season? Just Marvin Mims highlights? Fortunately, they went with John Harbaugh, and Rizzi, unfortunately, remains the special teams coordinator. I am not impressed at all with him.
No, and but since we're on the subject real quick of field position, look over here at the Bills punting. I mean, they suck at gross, and the only reason they're not in the red in net punt average is because their coverage units are so good. But still, Zach, they're middle of the pack, so that could play a role. It's one of the kind of minor keys, not minor, but under the radar keys to watch in this game is the field position battle relative to the punting game. All right, we look at penalties. The Broncos. Hey, Zach. Progress can be made. For most of the season, they were dead last in penalties committed. Coming out of the bye, though, they started chipping away at those numbers. And while they've been far from perfect, they have been greatly improved in terms of the penalties. You look at the Bills, though, they've only been penalized 101 times compared to, guys, the Broncos at 124. So the Bills ranked tied for 9th in fewest penalties. But then look at this. The Bills' opponents' penalties committed, 32nd, and then the Broncos opponent penalties committed tied for 6th. So you're getting a lot of, once again, it's still the theme, Zach. A lot of flags get thrown in Bronco games.
And 120 of those penalties are all on Riley Moss. It just seems egregious, Chad. And it's crazy. 23 penalties separates 19 places in those rankings. They have to be more disciplined. That's, to me, still a coaching thing, an execution thing with the players, to be fair as well. But they cannot be committing personal fouls. They cannot be shooting themselves in the foot. It's all about the fundamentals on Saturday, and that's cleaning up the penalties.
All right, let's just take a look at some of these stats, knowing that we have a whole season worth of sample size. So Marvin Mims finishes with 15.6 average on his punt returns, and yet for the first time in his 3-year career, he doesn't earn Pro Bowl or All-Pro honors. Kind of interesting, but whatever. Kickoff returns, their guy Ray Davis, man, watch out for him.
Yep.
He just fits this new kickoff structure so well. He's a weapon. Broncos, Devin Key, go get him, buddy. Tackles, they're led by Bishop. Broncos are led by Singleton. They have 2, the Broncos, players in triple-digit tackles. Moss only 20 tackles away. Bills do not have a player with triple-digit tackles this season. Sacks, Greg Rousseau has 7. Bosa has 5. Bonito, of course, 14. Cooper, 8. Franklin Myers, 7.5. And then Zach Allen, 7, I want to say. He's not listed here, but interceptions, Bishop has 3. Say that again.
It's always been Tillman listed for the Broncos, Chad, and then 6 players at 1. There's finally a tie there.
Thank you, Jaquan. One of Jaquan's, of course, too, was a pick 6, though. It wasn't for lack of trying for Tillman, man. When he did get his mitts on a ball, he'd rumble. And then, okay, real quick, let's look at receiving. As I mentioned, Shakir leads the Bills with 719, and then it's all about the 2 tight ends.
Good.
So Broncos, take care of the tight ends in the pass game, stop the run, keep Josh Allen caged. You got a good chance of winning this game. Sutton, 1,000 receiving yards for the 3rd time in his career and back-to-back seasons to boot. Franklin Zack is the number 2. Almost has as many yards as Bill's number 1 guy. He's off by a first down. Ingram, 3rd on the team, 461. And then rushing, man, here's the big disparity. Cook alone, 1,621 rush yards. That's the most in the NFL this season. And if you combine Dobbins and Harvey, you still don't even come close.
1668. I was doing the calculations. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then you look at the yardage here. Allen as a passer this season, 3,600. Bo Nix, 39. So there you have it. That's your head-to-head comparison between the Broncos and the Bills. Phil's saying he's having sound problems. Were you guys having sound problems? Said, oh, it's me. Okay, LOL. Got you, buddy. Boss Man Jay says, not taking anything away from Josh Allen, but he is a product of today's NFL rules. You could wrap a quarterback up, drive him to the ground. He wouldn't escape as many sacks as he does. Mm-hmm. I think there's some truth to that, Jay, but he's also just a big ass, strong dude, man. And he's so physical, and his will is so strong as well that just makes, combined with the howitzer hanging off his right shoulder, man, he's a tough assignment for any defense.
Yeah, I don't buy that too much. Was Ben Roethlisberger a product of the current NFL 15, 20 years ago? No, but they're the same type of quarterback where if you don't get him down, he's going to make you pay, and he'll play through injury. He's one of the toughest players in the league. There's a lot that I respect about Josh Allen. Then if he was your quarterback, you'd love him. It's one of those things where since he's not, then you kind of hate him.
We got the Chaos Josh, Boot Boy, in the house, courtesy of the 60 bus, jumping in to say Von Miller picked Broncos by 10. And this is a salient point, Zach, because it's not just that it's the Broncos, but it's also the Bills that he played for, right? So Josh says, personally, I think it'll be by 1 score. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a field goal or 2 scores. We're capable of anything. #BoLeave. And that's, again, what you said there at the end. We're capable of anything, Josh, is why the NFL at large still has a hard time getting a beat on the Broncos and giving them the proper respect they deserve as a 14-win 1 seed. Is that they're literally offensively, they go like this, dude. I mean, it's up, down, up, down. There's no this, there's no this, there's no this. It's just woo, 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 woo. So they are capable of anything. They're capable of what we saw, against Zach, the Chiefs in week 17, and they're capable of throwing down 33 points in a quarter like we saw in week 7.
Yeah, well said. The only thing I'll add is I'm surprised Vaughn didn't pick Denver by like 1,000, considering how bad he wants to come back to the team. But it's good that they're getting some love. And again, no matter if they win by 2 scores or 1 point, as long as they get that dub, Boot Boy, it's all that matters, baby.
Interesting point from Jay. Vaughn played 25 to 40% snaps per game this year. He still had 9 sacks. Yeah, I mean, he's as experienced as it exists in the NFL at edge rushing, and he's still a very talented guy, even at his age. Eric Holt in the house. What's up, buddy? Says, hey, fellows, put Bo in to let him cook. I think he's saying.
Put
Tempo to let him cook.
Yep.
Put Bo in tempo to let him cook. We need 35 points to beat the Bills. Just a thought. We win the Super Bowl and Sean Payton retires. Do you make a call to Tomlin? Well, man, there's so many dominoes that would need to fall. But if it did come to that point, Sean Payton's not retiring. He's not. But if he did, Zach, Tomlin reportedly is planning on taking at least this coming season off of coaching.
It's the same exact scenario as Sean Payton. He's getting into broadcasting or whatever, or the broadcast booth, but Pittsburgh also owns his rights still. So similar to what the Broncos did for Sean Payton, they had to give up draft capital and trade for him. That's what a team would have to do for Mike Tomlin. And I don't think after Payton, the Broncos are going to do that again.
It's good to see you, Eric, big dog. And by the way, I don't think you need 35. As we just went through, the Bills as an offense, they're averaging 28 points per game. Yes, but they're going against the number 3 scoring defense that only allows 18 per game. So unstoppable force versus immovable object, which one gives? I'm putting my money on the Broncos, so to speak. But great to see you, Eric. Naj in the hizzy, legend, Mount Rushmore superstar, checking in. Great to see you, buddy. He says, hey, brothers, biggest week for us in years. Very exciting and so stressful. In my opinion, he says, the game will be decided in the trenches. Our D-line will need a superior performance versus their line, and our O needs to dominate time of possession. I agree, man. I agree. That time of possession thing, as we just went through in the head-to-head, it's crucial because the Bills are as good as it gets in time of possession. They stay on the field for more than half the game, 33 minutes, 9 seconds. If you can upend that as the NFL's, 7th best time of possession team, yeah, you keep Josh Allen on the sideline, James Cook. It's a recipe. Easier said than done. How do you get there? As Naj is saying, I agree. You win the trenches.
Thank you, Naj, first of all, for the super, but the keys to victory for this game, if we were doing them, Chad, it boils down to 2. Run the ball and stop the run. That's it. If you can do those things, you're going to waltz out of Empower Field at Mile High going to the AFC Championship game. If you can't do that, your season might end prematurely. So you're right about that. The up front, the trenches, and also the TOP, those are all paramount on Saturday.
No doubt. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other comments, Phil, about sound problems, buddy. So I think it might be on your end, my brother. All right, let me double check some stuff here. Where are we at time-wise? Ooh, we're right up against it. All right, guys, we got a couple of messages for you. Then we're going to take one last look at the chat before we dip on out of here. So do not you go anywhere.
Another tremendous installment, as always, of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle. Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every single podcast, check out MHHmerch.com. Get you some. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a like, as you can see there, at Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. If you're on Instagram, you can find us at Mile_High_Huddle. Also, be sure to join the MHH Discord channel. The link is in the description below. We will see you there. Come chat with us. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football pre-save 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, 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 very important as always that you subscribe, you like, you share this video and every video you see in the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
That's right, baby. I'm just looking here, see anything. You guys let us know. Did we miss any topics tonight? Because this is our last opportunity to chat before the game. Game kicks Saturday, 2:30 Mountain Time. And it's being called by CBS #1 crew, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo. Zach doesn't like him, as you can tell. What don't you like about him, Zach?
Because I have to hear about Patrick Mahomes in a non-Patrick Mahomes game. He's not even playing, and he's still talking about him. And then this week, we'll hear all about Josh Allen and how great he is. But I think the Broncos are undefeated this season when Tony Romo was on the call. So my ears will hurt, Chad, but I'll push through.
So Pro 16 says, the only thing I'm kind of scared of is the refs. I just hope it's not rigged for Buffalo. So interesting on that topic. We did a story on it, Eric Trickle, which, by the way, guys, it's Eric's birthday. So if you run into him or you're connected with him on social media, make sure you send him a happy birthday. But he covered this when we found out which officiating crew the Broncos were getting. And it's going to be Carl Cheffers and his crew. And let me see if I can skim this real quick. So is it good or is it bad? Let's see. I'm quoting Eric here. In the Sean Payton era, Cheffers has been the ref for 4 games in which the Broncos went 3-1, with their win over the Dallas Cowboys this season being their most recent. In that game, the Broncos were called for 7 penalties for 42 yards, including 2 defensive pass interference calls on Riley Moss. There were 12 penalties on the Broncos in that game that were called. 5 of them were declined. The Cowboys were also called for 12 penalties, 9 of which were accepted, 80 yards. So it kind of looks like good news for the Broncos. However, Chafers and his crew call 14 to 15 penalties per game on average, which is 2 to 3 penalties more than the league average. This comes as the Broncos are the 6th most penalized team. What do we find out? Actually, this is updated now. So they are the 32, 31, 30, 29, 20. They're the 5th most penalized team. All right. Real quick, I'm going to wrap this up. In the NFL, Bills, etc. So, look, they like to throw the flags. I don't love it, the implications of such a flag-happy ref crew, Zach. But the Broncos are 3-1 with Cheffers' crew in the Sean Payton era. Keep that in mind.
I do think, though, that the Bills in their last 9 games are 7-2 with Cheffers as the official, or they're something along those lines as well. And I understand as well, Cheffers is among the league leaders in calling pass interference, including offensive pass interference penalties. So he's another flag-happy ref. At least it's not Brad Allen, Chad, who Dre Greenlaw got up close and personal with. But it's going to be a situation where they can't let the refs dictate the game that much. They can't put themselves in a position where the officials are going to influence a win or a loss. Beat Buffalo to the point where the referees do not even matter.
Exactly. Yep. Totally echo that 100%. So, all right, guys, let me just see. Anything else here? I think we covered all the bases. Boot Boy, win or loss, boys. It's been one hell of a season. Let's bow. It really has, man. We have it good again in Broncos country, and it feels good, boys and girls, because we wandered that desert for 8 long years. 8 long years, man. Unprecedented in the Broncos Super Bowl era. But good things come, Zach, to those who wait. The Broncos are officially back, retaking the 1 seed, winning 14 games, tying single-season franchise record. It's been one heck of a season. So many memories from this year, man. Awesome. 6 All-Pros, 6 Pro Bowlers. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's not over yet. I think the best is still yet to come. ...
Shannon with super chat at the 11th hour.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Her second top rope super of the night. She says, I have my vacation next week. I believe that I will be celebrating the Broncos advancing to the AFC Championship. Go Broncos, beat the Bills. What better note, Zach, to close on than that? And I'm right there with you, Shannon. I feel good about the Broncos winning this game. I don't think they're taking it lightly. I don't think you're going to see rust. I think you're going to see a Broncos team that was learned the lessons that it needed to learn, Zach, last year in the way the playoffs ended for them, and how fitting that the team that sent them home is who they draw this time around, with the chance to balance the stakes, even the score, I guess I should say. So I feel I'm right there with you, Shannon. Both Zach and I picked the Broncos. We both leave. Go get it done. Let's see the first AFC championship in 10 years.
Yeah, Shannon, I believe you're right, and we're going to all be counting down to the AFC title game, their opponent to be determined, but I would feel good no matter if it's Houston or New England in that game. And as I wrote in my little blurb for the roundtable, it just seems like the Broncos are a team of destiny, Chad, and harkening back and all the parallels to 2015, it seems like they're just destined for bigger and better. But Shannon, thank you so much, and enjoy your vacation.
Hey, guys, thanks for letting us know. We don't have Scott tonight, so appreciate Phil reminding us, Greg helping remind that Phil left some stars. He says, I think this is it. But he says, I think Pat Bryant and Zach Allen could be X factors. Zach, how you feeling about that?
Well, I don't know about Zach Allen, considering he's an all-pro and one of the best players on the team, but Pat Bryant, absolutely. I've been saying it as long as he's been willing and able. He should be getting more targets in the offense. And earlier in the season, Phil, I said he should be getting those targets at the expense of Troy Franklin, but we know that Sean Payton loves Troy Franklin too much. Regardless, just as a chain mover or someone on third down of the red zone, throw the ball up to Pat Bryant, because more often than not, he's going to make the catch.
Well said. Thank you, Phil, buddy. Sorry for making you wait, guys. Before we get out of here, a mile high salute, a special shout out to all the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, and dear members helping us keep the lights on tonight, like Taylor Christensen, Papa Bear, Mount Rushmore, The Ronk, Mount Rushmore, Mblex, a legend, Shannon Mills, Mount Rushmore, Seth and OG, Tucson Phil, legend, Bossman Jay, going in twice. Let's see, Brad Murdoch, Soldier, thank you, buddy. The Chaos, Josh Bootboy, Eric Holt, Naj, Mount Rushmore, Cody Dubb, I missed this one. Get Hufanga, who's Mount Rushmore, how dare I? Get Hufanga on the jugs machine. He could have at least a good 4 or 5 interceptions. Man, he should have 10 interceptions hit him in the hands this year, Zach. And it would have been hard to beat out Myles Garrett for Depoy this year, anybody, but would have given him a fighting chance. He was that good this year.
It could be some scene, though, like you have Huff on the jug machine, you have Riley Moss in boxing gloves, Chad. That's there's some ragtag unit that's secondary, but we all love him, and he's a tremendous player. I love Hufanga.
Thank you, Cody, big dog. Appreciate you, pal. And so, hey, the predictions are in. We've covered every nook and cranny of this matchup. Zach and I will see you at halftime for Broncos Bills, and then, of course, gut reaction at the final gun. Go Broncos.
Have a great rest of your week. We will see you Saturday. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.